Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our webinar. We are so excited to have you here. The Thrive in 30 Setting Up a Physical Workspace, which is part of our executive functioning series that we're having right now. I'm so lucky to introduce the wonderful women of our executive functioning team. We have Brooke and Melanie, who are both executive functioning coaches, as well as Jenna, who's our director of executive functioning services, which is always a mouthful to say. I'm Becky, I'm on the marketing team, and I'm here to introduce you to everyone, kick this off, and just let you know that this is also recording so that you can watch it later on our webinar series website. And just really thank everyone for being here and our fantastic team for hosting us. So I'll hand it over to them and have a great day.
Awesome, and it's really just going to mostly be Brooke. Melanie and I might chime in throughout, but Brooke is leading the show.
All right, thank you, Jenna. I'm excited to be a part of this tonight and talk about being, having a physical workspace. The whole meaning of homework has definitely taken on a whole new meaning in this world that we're living in right now. We always want to have something that we are a great space to set up and do our work and everything, but definitely now home is where it's at. Many of you might be in different situations. Some of you might be in a hybrid or a virtual or whatever it might be this year. And even mom and dad, you might be working from home. So we definitely have a lot more to talk about and a lot more different options that we can do this year. And it's obviously way more important than ever to set up a physical workspace. But a little bit about me really quickly, just so you know where my perspective and I'm coming from. I was a teacher for quite a while in New York City, working with children with learning challenges from elementary school and then another school, middle school, high school. As you can imagine, using a lot of different strategies and different setups and ways to help them be successful. And then I went back to school myself for counseling to really add in that social emotional component. And what I saw was a huge correlation between feeling in control when you have control of your situation and what it is that you want to do and how to do it. So really having the space and there's the emotional component to that. Like, it definitely reduces stress and anxiety and that feeling of overwhelmment when, you don't know where to start or how to start or what you have. So really the number one thing I'm setting up this workspace is to feel in control and to set them up for success. So how do we do that? That's good. So the first thing we need to do is to actually create a space, which sounds pretty logical. And, as much as that's the most natural thing, it's also the most challenging. So a couple different ways to do this and how we're going to get started. But also something to really consider right off the bat is that, again, this year, a little bit different than most years, while our students all always have homework to do. Now, when we're working from home a little bit, we have to take into some other considerations. You might have more than one child at home. They're working for, several hours at this point, not just the usual homework that they're coming home and doing it for quite a little while. And again, like I said, if some parents are working from home, you might have already taken over that office area or desk area that your child might be using other times in the afternoon. So we need to create a space that works for everybody. And again, every child is different, just again, whatever your ages of your child may be, take those things into consideration before you even go through what a space may look like. But a younger child definitely wants to be a little bit closer to a parent, even if they're on their own, but just so they can, ask for help a little bit more and be a little bit more resourceful. An older child might need a little bit more independence and, just things to consider as we're creating our workspace. So the number one thing is the work area, the actual flat, hard surface that you need. So beds are off limits. I know a lot of kids might say, oh, I'm so comfy here. This is, I get so much done here. This is my comfy space. my recommendation, that's not okay. They need a nice, hard, their comfortable space for later when they're relaxing and reading a good book. But the first thing we need, our work area needs to be a flat, hard area where they can spread their stuff out. Now we have laptops, Chromebooks, whatever it may be, definitely room for that, to put it up somewhere where there's a good outlet. Again, you know, we're considering this now that we might be working from home a little bit more so, maybe in a virtual situation. So not everybody has, you know, 4 different home offices around their house. So maybe this is the time that, you know, we invested a small little desk, or you be a little creative, move furniture around. Maybe there's a table that you hadn't been using. I just honestly put a little desk upstairs for my daughter. She never had one, and kind of stuck it in between a little windowsill. And it's perfect. It doesn't have to be a whole room set aside for, you know, for learning. Also in the work area, I said about if you have more than one child, consider if they can work together or not. I have a good friend that just set up this lovely, you know, looks like it's out of a magazine with 3 desks for their students, beautiful, except their ages, you know, elementary, middle school, and high school. And I'm just thinking that might not work. You know, one's on a Zoom call and another one, you know, is coloring and talking. So things to consider as well, where that actual space is. The second thing you need is good lighting. So, you know, again, having good lighting, and also, you know, maybe some natural light. You know, our students are, they're sitting a lot all day now. You know, a lot of times they might be home for many, many hours. So we need that natural light. It's healthy and learn. It keeps them invigorated. We don't want them in a dark space. You know, they get tired, they get lazy. You know, our head just goes in a different place when it's, you know, just as adults as well. You know, we need the light. It's just healthy for us. If you don't have a place where there's great lighting, you know, and a good desk lamp will help, some little lights all around, plenty of things that we can do. The next thing is to minimize distractions. Now, this sounds, you know, like, okay, of course, so, but it's definitely something to really consider and think about all the time, but definitely, again, while we're a little bit more virtual these days. So when we talk about having a nice flat area to have a desk, that does not mean the kitchen table or the kitchen island. So when we're minimizing distractions, the place that we're going to create this space should be something that's really just for learning purposes. We don't want to every day be clearing everything away and then clearing it back and putting it back. You know, if someone's in the middle of dinner, like, oh my God, I have to finish my work. This is not a time that we're pushing everything to the side. I know many people do their work in the kitchen, and again, that might have worked when it was just a quick little homework assignment, but for the situation we're in now, I never recommend it, honestly, but even more so now, to really know that this is a place where active learning is going to take place. So definitely in a place where there's not so many distractions. So that's, you know, also something to consider is even like a TV or music. Again, if you think you're in another room next door, also be considerate. If, you know, somebody's watching the news in the morning and our student is learning, you know, they have virtual learning, even if they're in another room, think about how the noise may travel a little bit. Same within a basement, sometimes it echoes up. So things to really consider this year. And same with a phone as well. A lot of times, our kids have their phones near them. It's going off. Mine just went off before. It's ding, 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 ding. And that's completely distracting them. Maybe we're shutting ringers off, putting them in our drawers, whatever it may be, to minimize any distractions. And music as well. Sometimes there might be music playing. Some kids actually might need a little bit of music. Sometimes some kids that have a little bit of a harder time paying attention, music actually calms them. But again, being considerate of the needs of and learning style of your child. So that is huge, huge important thing about creating a space. And also, we don't want to be in a high traffic area. Again, like the kitchen's the first thing that always comes to mind. Everyone's household is a little different if you're in the city or if you're in the suburbs, you know, just different styles of homes, but definitely that high traffic area, people coming in and out are constantly distracting. So again, many of us are home. There's different spaces in our homes, but just something to be considerate of. Ample wall space. So again, this is going to depend on each, where you live and what it is. But if you have wall space, we're going to get a little bit more into this. If you could even like see the picture that's up there, somewhere where we can hang possibly a calendar or a cork board, having visual aids in front of us, we're going to talk more about that, is going to be very helpful for your student. They can see it right away. And it also eliminates the clutter that might start to evolve on your actual desk. So anything we can put up and move away is definitely helpful. And maybe some little drawers or shelves that we can. Supplies, again, we're going to get a little bit more into this, but having supplies with us wherever they can be, which will avoid you getting up and walking out and distracting as well. So if you do have a desk, definitely in drawers or somewhere nearby, or little bins on top. And then again, if there's different, if you want to share things with your family, maybe like different closet spaces and stuff for it, but everything as close as can be. Computer and printer. Many students now have Chromebooks, laptops, so that is where it's going to go every day. It's going to come here, and also wherever that space may be, make sure that there's an area where they can charge it every night. I think we're going to talk too about having a go-to spot, but the desk should be their go-to spot, that every night it gets charged there, possibly, if that works, and they can come pick it up in the morning if they are going to school or hybrid, whatever it might be, as well as if you need a printer. So having all that in your space is really, really important to get started. And again, once they have all this, they're going to feel so much in control and empowered to do their work, and everything is right there. The next part, okay, it's not going. Oh, we skipped a little too far. Sorry. It's the supplies. I'm on dual here. So I said we're going to talk a little bit more about having supplies. What does that mean? So when you have all the supplies you need in front of you, it definitely maximizes the time that you're working on your work instead of going around the house looking for it. It definitely reduces stress, anxiety, and just makes it a lot easier for everyone. Just tell you a little scenario that has happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to most of you. Just put it in your head to remember. If your child is looking, I mean, we've all been here, I think we can all relate to, but imagine you have 2 kids at home. I'll just use my own, a son and a daughter. Daughter's in the middle of her math problem, and right through a word problem, really thinking ahead, and the pencil breaks, right? Tip goes right off, and she's like, oh my God, my pencil broke. She's like, Mom, help me find the sharpener, right? So now she just totally lost her thought about whatever it is on that word problem. And now she's screaming in the house for me to go find her pencil sharpener, right? So now I'm maybe in the middle of dinner, whatever it might be. Stop what I'm doing. I'm running around the house like a maniac. I'm opening up every single drawer. She's still yelling for a pencil sharpener. She disrupts my son from whatever he's doing, and everything has gone chaotic. So I hope you feel and have been in that situation. We've all been. I just made that one up, but it could have been, any given day for many of us. But exactly, if we had that pencil sharpener somewhere right there, none of these things would have happened. So now my daughter's emotions have gone up and down, possibly. She has completely lost her train of thought in the middle of her math, which if you're doing math, that's very confusing to just pick right back up where you are. I've maybe burnt my dinner at this point. I've messed up the house, and my son is definitely not so excited that he has now lost his train of thought on whatever he was doing. So if we had it all right here and there, or had it somewhere labeled that we knew to go to, none of this would have happened. And, I'm sure some of you are listening to this today, hoping that this will also help your family, not just your one student, but as a family, we're all working together now. And when we can reduce the stress of one member, it definitely helps all of us together. And it makes everybody just feel happier, more successful, more efficient, and all those things that go along with it. So if you, like I said it before, if you have an area, a desk area where you're able to keep everything, that's amazing. But also, if you don't, you can make, this is like a little picture of a little caddy. You can make one that you want to take with you around the house, or if you, maybe go from one area to the next. You can get something like shower caddy. at Bed Bath & Beyond. You can use little buckets like this. Really anything goes. And when I say supplies, just like the picture, you know, everything, again, depending on the age of your student, you might have, most schools, I think at this point, give a list of supplies that they might need. A lot of those go to school. I would say maybe just, you know, get a second round of it for home. You might not need every single thing they ask for, but definitely a lot of those tools, again, depending on the age, you know, different grades need different things, but definitely to have, you know, use that list as an example for your student, whatever they might need, and try to have as much as you can within their area, you know, reachable area. Also, labeling things if you can. Again, if you're going to use some family spots, always try to use the same ones all the time. So again, for that pencil sharpener, you don't need one for every single member of your family, but maybe the pencil sharpener is always, you know, ours is always right here behind me. You can't see it, but everybody knows that's where it is. So if there is a problem, they just get up, they use it, go back, and that's it. There's no, you know, burning of dinner. So supplies, really important. So now we've kind of worked on the physical things that we need. We have our setup. Continuing that, but a little bit more usage, is scheduling and managing our time. So we're not going to show you exactly how to do that today, but we're going to tell you what you can do to prepare for that. So a couple different things. A planner is seriously my best friend. I think they're amazing to have and to use. You can use, I have some little examples here, an actual physical planner like this that can come back and forth. Again, a lot of schools are hybrid, meaning that they're going half the time in their home. So if you have an actual physical planner, it's really, really essential to bring it back and forth each day and write everything down. Even if things are on Google Classroom or different platforms that they might have homework in, to rewrite it in a planner is very, very beneficial. You can see it all at once. They can keep better track of it. They can have an idea a little bit better of the days, because it's going to be a little confusing now. For students that don't like to have an actual planner, even though it's really amazing, there are plenty of online sites that you can use. You can use Google Calendar. There's an app that we like called Alta Ipsum, and a couple other formats online as well, digital calendars as well. But I really, really love an actual planner that can come back and forth. And this is kind of like that bridge between school and home, and especially, like I said, this year, where we're really, you know, really going to need some scaffolding between the two. Another thing is a calendar. I'm going to put these together a little bit. So a calendar can be like the picture here, like chalkboardy, or you can use a dry erase one. They sell them everywhere these days, from Five Below to fancy ones at Pottery Barn. This picture here is actually a company called One Thrive. I actually have one myself. It's right behind me. You can't really see it. There's all different variations of it. I like the dry erase actually calendar. Because then, especially this year, like we said, a lot of schools are hybrid. So you might, this way kids can see everything at once. They can write in it themselves. We want them to become their own self-advocates also, to start understanding what they have and have a sense of their own time. They might be going to school 2 days on, 2 days off, whatever it might be. So right at the bat, they can write all of that in their monthly calendar. So they see it. We said, you know, if you have ample wall space, they can see that every single day, and they can have a sense of their week and their month. And then we can start scheduling, posting their sports, their activities, their due dates. And again, it gives them a sense of control, lowers that anxiety. They know what's coming. They know what to expect. Also with dry erase, also you can write checklists when you need things. Again, this is like if you need a certain day that you have to bring an instrument or whatever it might be, but giving them the tools that they can have everything around them in an area where they can manage their time is really important. And also take with them back and forth. So now, like I said, we have everything that we need in front of us. We have things to help manage our time. It's like slow-mo when I do it. And the next part is, oh, it keeps skipping away. I'm very sorry, everybody. Okay, is staying organized. So kind of expanding from this and just is something that, like I said, the planner to come back and forth every day. Another thing you can use is an expanding file folder. So something like this. And again, a lot of schools have certain binders and folders they want students to use, which is fine, but you could also, in addition, or if they don't mind as much, use something like this as well. Again, a lot of things are online these days, but I highly recommend using a file folder in addition. So using a file folder is so easy. All you're doing is labeling each subject for whatever they have. And everything for that subject, especially homework, goes in that particular folder. And when they do that, they are never going to lose anything again. And this comes back and forth with them, again, if they have a hybrid day or an in-person day, every day. So a lot of times, again, with as your children are getting older, a lot of things are sent through the computer, but even especially now with hybrid. What I would suggest, if you have students that are a little bit more disorganized or maybe forget things, or really anybody, is to reprint some of those homework assignments and put them in here. And then this way, if they, you know, sometimes I hear students say, I think I sent it to the teacher, and they're like, oh, maybe they never got it, but they did it. And, you know, that just becomes a waste that they spend all that time doing it. So print out your finished work and assignments and put it in the file folder, at least for a week or so. And that way they have an extra copy of it if it never reached the teacher, or just for themselves to know that they finished it. It's almost like checking it off for themselves. So we'll talk more about these a little bit more in depth in other webinars, but this is definitely a great tool to have to stay organized. Again, it can go right on their desk. It can come back and forth, go in the backpack, and this is really a lot that they need right now. In addition, color-coded pocket folders are good too. And you can, you know, that can be in addition, or as well, some of these come color-coded like this one is, which you can also use for color coding other things as well. So, you know, we're putting it all together to stay organized. The next part is continuing on that a little bit. I'm sorry, it keeps like clicking over to the second one. Environmental supports. So this is really putting everything together now. So now we have everything we need, and we have a plan with our calendar and our planners and everything. And how are we actually going to proceed to do all of this? So we're going to use some other supports as well. So timers and clocks. I'm actually using one right now watching myself go. This is a great little timer to use. You can actually see the timing of all of it. You can use a, like the Jenna, what are those called when you turn them over?
I was gonna say egg timers.
Yeah, I call them egg timers, but there's lots of different ones. Yes, those are awesome too. They have like numbers on them, 5, 10, 15 minutes. This gives children, students a sense of time to either finish things, know how long they're taking. The more sense of time they have, the better they're going to feel, again, like more in control, and help prioritize and plan their day. Looking at an actual clock is really helpful, having it in front of them. There's a lot of things that we get swept up in the time of having, you know, whether it's just, you know, getting tired and think they're studying and rereading the thing over and over, or, you know, looking at their phone and, again, trying to do work, but looking at social media at the same time. So looking at clocks, putting on timers, telling our phone, you know, Siri, set a timer for 20 minutes when I have a Zoom call coming. All these are great, great supports. Teachers and friends email contacts. I know, again, a lot of things are now on Google Classroom or whatever format you might have, but really encourage your students to use these contacts. You know, a lot of time, you know, it's great to have study buddies. A lot of times students don't want to ask for help, but it's okay to, and we want to encourage them. We want them to do it more than we want you to do it for them. So the more that they feel more comfortable, and if they have the contacts right there in front of them, they're not like, do that, or what am I going to do? So now it's become a lot more normalized, which is a silver lining, I think, in all of this, that they do have contact back and forth with the teacher. It doesn't feel as embarrassing or hard to do as much, but making sure they have that also in front of them is really supportive. And again, with like a friend or a study buddy, especially if it's a more hybrid virtual learning situation. Also a list of daily supplies, like we said before, like if you want to write down, the days are going to be different every day. So it's going to be confusing for all of us. So if it's Tuesday that they have, you know, band, they have to make sure they have something. Again, this is where we want to make checklists, write things down on top of us. And the more they write these down, the more they become innate and more intrinsically motivated. I'm talking really fast now, we're almost done. Go-to spots. So again, like I said, the laptop or the Chromebook is always there at the desktop being charged every night, but make other go-to spots where their backpack is every day, where you know, their instrument is every day, or their sports equipment, whatever it may be. Those are always where they go. If mom finds them lying around the house, you know, after you're practicing your trombone, no joke, my daughter played the trombone last year. And it was in another room, I know that I'm always putting it back to the go-to spot, or she's putting it back in the go-to spot, so we're not running around the house looking for it that morning when we have to get out. Inbox and outbox, also a great tool to have. So it's if you know, ever worked in a corporate environment or online, you know, same thing. Have an inbox for things that still have to get done, and an outbox for things that are finished. Maybe they have to go into this right after. Maybe there are things we're still working on that are in the inbox. If we're in the middle of homework and, you know, you have to go to soccer practice, it stays in the inbox and you know, oh, it's right there again. So it's easy to find. Also, it eliminates any clutter in your area because we want to eliminate as many things in front of us. When we have a more organized desk and area, we have a more organized mind. And it just, again, gives us that sense of relief and control, and totally decompresses the stress and anxiety. And the last part, which you've now seen 10 times as it keeps going back to it, and now it's not going to go. This is very, you know, this is why technology isn't always perfect for everybody. Sometimes it'll pop up eventually, but it keeps popping up before. But the last part is to make it personal. So again, their spot is where they're going to be. Always important for it to be a special place when they're doing homework and they want to feel comfortable, not too comfortable, not the bed, but even more so now, because just like if you go to work and you have your work area, or you might see if you have a college student or a friend, they have their dorms all decorated a certain way. We want our students to feel comfortable. We want them to want to go to that area where they feel good and in control and ready to work. And that might mean that it doesn't fit in exactly with the decor of the rest of your house, or, you know, it's in a, you know, random place, but that means that they're ready to be there. So maybe they want to put up some pictures of their friends, or they got a great grade, they want to put that back up for motivation, or they want to, you know, decorate it with some music or sports teams that they like. But this is their area, this is their space, and the more that they can make it a little personal, the more they're going to want to come and feel comfortable and happy, and set them up for success. So that's how we can create a physical workspace. I know it's a lot of information, but the more that they feel comfortable and wanting to be there, I think that they'll feel like they are ready to take on this year, however it might go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brooke. We so appreciate it with you and your team. And thank you guys for joining. We'll post this both on the webinar website and email out a little thank you that'll have a link to it and some more information. So, but this is our executive functioning team. If anyone ever has any questions, they are a wonderful team. So thank you guys for your time. We really appreciate all of your help and all this information. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Thank you.